Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon and good evening. Welcome to today's session on fit-out timelines and operational fitness. My name is Monique van Asperen and I will be your moderator for this session. It is great to see so many familiar faces here today, and I hope we will answer all your questions successfully. Our speaker of today is Omar Shahada. Omar will provide key takeaways on your fit-out timelines, reporting requirements and Expo 2020 assurance standards, your operational fitness declaration, site access, and the wrapping selection for your pavilion. Before I hand over to Omar, I have a few housekeeping items to cover quickly. Firstly, I would like to ask all of you to please keep your microphones muted to avoid disruptions during the session. Today's session will be recorded and will be accessible on the portal. The session will run in English. However, translation in Arabic, French, and Spanish is available via the different channels. To switch the channel to a different language, please click the interpretation button, marked as a globe icon, on the bottom of your screen. For questions, kindly use the Q&A tab on the bottom of your screen. Please state your full name, country you represent, followed by a question. This will help to address all questions accordingly within the allocated time. If we do not get your question during the session due to time limitations, we will ensure to follow up afterwards with the response. Additionally, we will be publishing all the FAQs on the portal. So now let's begin. Omar, please, the floor is yours.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, welcome to the Fit-Out Timeline and Operational Fitness session. Thank you for taking time to watch the information packs for these topics and for sharing your questions. We look forward to answering all of these today. As mentioned in the information pack we shared with you earlier, and through our several meetings to date, we have been working hard to update our delivery strategy while maintaining ongoing communication with you. This is to ensure that you are provided with the right information to update your delivery model and that you feel supported during this period. Exchanging ideas, discussing challenges, and sharing best practices have helped all of us to overcome some of the major difficulties in these unprecedented times. However, we do want to highlight that there are a number of you that have not yet submitted your final designs and schedules. We request you to please share them with us so that we can also ensure your progress. Before we go over our key takeaways, an important point we wanted to raise again is that it remains our collective objective to protect all of those working on site and to ensure we all go home safely every day. And so we request that you plan and ensure that your supply chain is compliant with the Expo 2020 assurance standards. We would like to take this opportunity to remind you of your pavilion delivery milestones. Your fit-out completion certificate must be obtained before 1st of July 2021, including the completion of inspections and certificates by the relevant authorities. Till date, we have only received a few designs, and also, although the event has been postponed, we would expect that all designs are received with approval obtained before the end of December 2020. This means you should be ready to submit a concept stage design if you have not already done. This will help you to achieve final design stage completion before the end of the year and ready for fit-out by January 2021. For those of you who have not already done so, please do submit your updated baseline schedule for us to review so that we can support you with meeting your milestones. We would also like to know about your procurement strategy and how you plan to engage with your supply chain, as these will impact your timelines. Another key milestone that you have all asked about is the Operational Fitness Declaration, which is due by 1st December 2021. By this date, your pavilion should be dust-free and be ready to receive visitors. You will be required to submit your operating plan, your emergency action plan, the relevant insurances, and lastly, your staff training declaration. A reminder that A number of testing events will be conducted in the last 30 days leading up to the start of the event to ensure our collective readiness. The test events that are relevant to your pavilion will be conducted on the 3rd and 4th of September 2021. As you know, the site is open 24/7, 365 days a year. Please do ensure that you and your supply chains are accredited to access the secure site. Lastly, we would like to remind you to please finalize your pavilion wrapping images. In our last IPM, we talked about how your pavilion provides an opportunity and a platform to express your uniqueness to the world, and your pavilion's wrapping is the first point of contact between you and your Expo 2020 visitors. So it is important that you please make it as a priority to have your final approval with us at the latest by 30th September 2020. Thank you. We will now move on to answering your questions.
Thank you, Omar, for the key takeaways. We will now open the floor for questions, and we will be joined by my colleagues Adnan, Afra, and Farah. Let's see, we've received a question. We would like to receive information on the internet, Wi-Fi, bandwidth availability in the Rent Pavilion. What is the capacity? Adnan, may I request you to answer this question?
Yes, sure, thank you. The bandwidth of the public Wi-Fi that is available across the site and is also installed within the rent pavilions is 5 megabyte per second per person. That's the target that we have. However, for the participants occupying the rent spaces and depending on the exhibition items that they're running and their requirements for telecommunication services in their offices as well, you may check our rate card that is published on the Expo portal, which contains competitive rates provided by our telecommunication partner, Etisalat, both for managed and unmanaged services. Thank you.
Thank you, Adnan. We received a question on temporary power, data, and water during fit-out. Can the fit-out contractor connect to the existing pavilion's power, data, and water supply? Afra, can I ask you to answer this question?
Of course, thank you, Meg. During the fit-out stage, the contractor may apply for a temporary power connection through the infrastructure within the pavilion, through the Expo portal, and we will support getting the approval from our electrical and water authority. With regard to the water, that would be only towards the end of completion of your fit out, as the meters will have to be installed. The connection is existing now, but there is no meter, which means there is no supply of water. And with regard to the data and internet, the contractor will have to secure their own means of connection during the fit-out stage.
Thank you, Afra. We received a question on welfare facilities. Can pavilion toilet facilities be used by contractors during the fit-out stage? Omar, can I ask you to answer this question?
On our side, we have a central facility that can be used by the contractor, but yes, the building facilities can be used, provided that the contractor will be responsible for maintaining it and keeping it clean, since it's going to be used in the event as a public building and public service area.
Thank you, Omar. We received a question related to shared areas. The question is, who is responsible for maintaining shared areas within a boundary? For example, access to waste and LV room on the ground floor, as well as access to male and female WCs on the ground floor. Adnan, can I ask you to answer this question?
Yes, of course. Thank you. So the shared areas is basically classified as landlord areas, which is managed and controlled by us, by Expo 2020. We'll be responsible for the facility management, cleaning services within those areas, and we will be taking care of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Adnan. A follow-up question. What security is currently provided on site? Is there 24/7 security of the full pavilion? Adnan, may I also ask you to answer this one?
Yes, sure. So the entire site is gated and secured. We provide security across the site to ensure the safety of the participants and the guests. With regards to the pavilions itself, this is part of the overall patrolling of the site and securing it. Within your pavilion, specifically, if you have additional requirements or you need to secure your space in an extra way, you may provide your own security at your own cost.
Thank you, Adnan. Another question received. Is the pavilion locked down at night? Omar, can I ask you to answer this one?
To answer this question, we need to understand whether it's before the handover of the building or not before the handover. But regardless of the situation, the pavilion will be locked down when there's no usage of the space from the contractor. However, the Expo, because it's remained the safety and the security of the whole site is our responsibility. We will have also an access to the pavilion at night if an emergency is required to be attended to.
Thank you, Omar. We received a question related to the smart queuing system. Is the smart queuing system going to be extended to us? Adnan, would you like to take this one?
Sure, thanks. So initially our plans in relation to smart queuings and the queue management within the thematic district areas, we based our designs on a free flow, which includes the rent pavilions as well. Currently, and based on the latest changes that are happening, we are looking at examining the provision of the smart queue and making it available within the different spaces within the thematic districts. We'll be able to provide additional information on this in the coming months, and we'll keep you informed. Thank you.
Thank you, Adnan. We received a question related to physical handover. Can you kindly confirm the physical handover of the pavilion to the participant? Will this be in January 2021? Afra, may I ask you to answer this one?
Of course. Yeah, well, the pavilions are, as the spaces are ready now, and we anticipated that an efficient duration for fit out would be like starting from the beginning of January or early in 2021. So allowing our participants to complete their design stage in 2020 and proceed to their fit out work in January 2021. However, if a participant wish to receive their pavilion earlier, we will be more than happy to hand it over.
Thank you so much, Afra. The following question is related to CCTV. Is the installation of the CCTV mandatory inside the pavilion? Adnan, can I ask you to answer this one?
Yes, sure, of course, thank you. CCTV is already installed within the rent pavilions, and it's part of the existing package that have been implemented by us as an organizer. Any changes to that based on the installation of your exhibits must be addressed in your design submissions in order to obtain the necessary approvals around that. We don't ask you to add any additional cameras. However, we look at your design to assess any obstruction to the existing cameras. And if that's the case, we look at moving them, but we require the approval of the responsible authorities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adnan. We received another question. Can we expect any particular instruction from the organizer side in terms of the pavilion maintenance and hygiene standards? Adnan, the floor to you again.
Thank you. So, as I explained in my previous question, in the previous question and the answer provided, we are maintaining and managing the facility management cleaning services within the landlord area and the common areas that is under our management. With regards to cleaning requirements within your pavilion, we are not providing additional details at this stage, but however, we ask you to look at this based on the footfall and the requirements for your pavilion exhibits and any technical equipment that you have there. In addition to that, if your pavilion, if you're planning to have any food and beverage activities within your pavilion, in terms of operating a restaurant, the regulations of Dubai municipality in terms of food hygiene and health and food safety is required. So this information is already available on the Expo portal. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adnan. I would kindly like to request all delegates to keep on submitting their questions in the Q&A box on the bottom of the page. Let's see if we got another question. Yes, we just received a question related to facade wrapping timelines. Do we remain committed to the current facade wrapping timelines? Farah, can I ask you to answer this one?
Sure. Yes, we do remain committed to the current facade wrapping timelines, and we've received a lot of images, and we've processed a lot of them and approved a lot of them, but we still have a lot to do. So we do encourage you to please submit your images, as we have a lot of deadlines to reach.
Thank you so much, Farah. Thank you so much. If you have any further questions, please keep on submitting them. We will be giving you a few minutes and then we'll continue answering them. Thank you so much. Thank you. In the meantime, we received a question. Can you kindly explain if an architect of record will be needed for the design submission? Afra, can I ask you to answer this one?
Of course. Thank you, Monique. A separate entity to be an architect of record during the design submission is not required. Your fit-out contractor should be able to handle the design and have the right certification for a design and build fit-out work. If there are special requirements or special modifications within the pavilion, that will be studied on a very special case basis, and it will be discussed with you if a specialist designer or an architect of record will be required.
Thank you so much, Afra. We received another question in the meantime. Could you kindly explain what kind of inspections are needed for the fit-out completion? Afra, may I also ask you to answer this one?
Of course. The standard inspections that will be required is a final walk with the Dubai South Authority for the interior completion. Our Dubai Civil Defense, obviously, to check that the installation within the pavilion or any modification that has been submitted within your design are implemented and as per the approved design drawings. If you are to change any of our CCTV cameras that have been installed, as Adnan mentioned, there will be another inspection to make sure that also the modification are done in line with the approved drawings. And finally, electricity and water, that will be also another inspection by our by DEWA, Dubai Electricity and Water Authority. One more inspection will be required if you choose to have a kitchen within your pavilion. So there will be also an inspection by Dubai municipality to check the installation and the fit out of your kitchen. And upon the approval of all of these inspections, you will be receiving your fit-out completion certificate.
Thank you so much, Afra. I would kindly like to remind you of the Q&A box on the bottom of this page to keep on posting your questions over there. Yeah. We've not received any new questions in the meantime. I would kindly like to remind you that you can always submit your questions to your country manager, or you can send them directly, of course, to the ip@expo2020.ae. We as country managers, we're here to support you, so please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Thank you all for the questions you have submitted so far, and it has most certainly been a dynamic session. We will now bring the session to a close, and we look much forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Thank you so much.